This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Good morning, Tuscaloosa, internet world. West Alabama, how are we doing today on a Friday? It is going to be a fun Friday as we head into a huge weekend right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. We're obviously not in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios today because we are in Nashville getting ready for tonight's Alabama basketball game of the SEC tournament as they're taking on the Ole Miss Rebels at 6 p.m. So, going to be a huge show. We're going to circle back and talk about Alabama football yesterday. We were in the Malmore Athletic Facility, heard from Ryan Grubb, Ryan Coleman Williams, and Michael Carroll. We'll talk about what they had to say and how it relates to what we saw at practice yesterday. If you wanted to hear what we saw at practice yesterday, it's on yesterday's episode that can be found on the Bama Central YouTube channel, on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Let's have a lot of fun with our friend Theo Fernandez. He's going to be up here covering the SEC tournament as well. He's going to be keeping an eye on Alabama and Kentucky's SEC baseball series. They're starting SEC play this weekend, and he was at the Malmore Athletic Facility yesterday with me. So Theo, follow him at Theo Fernandez _. How you doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing great. SEC tournament, man. I feel like a kid the day before kindergarten. You know, like the day before the first day of class. Like, I've grown up, like, this is the second most fun day of sport, second most fun week of sports in the week behind only the NCAA tournament. And to get to go and be part of one of them, I'm excited, man. It's a fun time. I was watched probably about 11 hours of basketball yesterday. Like, I'm having a good time.
Oh, man. So I'll lean on you when we get to the basketball because I was driving yesterday. Basically, as soon as we finished with football, I kept up with the Georgia game. Obviously, Georgia getting upset by Ole Miss and Oklahoma moving on. So congratulations, Oklahoma winning 2 games in 2 days. Ole Miss winning 2 games in 2 days. Going to be a huge Friday's quarterfinal slate today that we'll get into in just a little bit. But let's start with football because that's what the people want. That's what pays the bills. Alabama football in spring practice action this week. And we were there yesterday. We gave you a full kind of review. I want to take you back to that review before we get into what we heard from Ryan Grubb and just ask you, now that we're 24 hours later, has anything settled for you? Do you have any feelings changed? Did you look back through any other videos and think, oh, my observation's a little different, or have other observations? Just want to reflect on yesterday's practice viewing before we talk about the news that Ryan Grubb made.
No, I feel pretty much the same. I mean, there were some underwhelming throws, right? There were some moments where it's like, yeah, this is very much a football team in its first week of practice. And I think that should be the bigger story, right? The bigger story should be football team begins practice 6 months from the season versus, oh, look how much this football team has gone down. Like, it should be the first one. But yeah, it's not like we're walking out with, anywhere near, here's your perfect Alabama football team. That's not where we're at right now.
And that's okay. Exactly as you said. It's the very first week we saw, like, you could see the athleticism out there in the Malmore Athletic Facility yesterday. You could see the athleticism, and the guys seem to be engaged with the activities that they're doing. They just need some refinement. They just need some refinement and some cohesion and some chemistry. Exactly what you do in spring practice: build chemistry, refine your technique, and really kind of build cohesion on your team. So I thought it was a fine day yesterday. And so let's get into the news that Ryan Grubb made. I just wanted to leave you room to see if you had any. Well, actually, we'll comment. We'll circle back from yesterday into Ryan Grubb's comments. Ryan Grubb talked about the quarterbacks, and you yourself yesterday talked about how the quarterbacks weren't very accurate in the periods that we got to see. And Ryan Grubb called it a day. He said the first 2 days, they were really good, but today was a regression from that. Does that make you feel any better about what you saw with the quarterback? I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to make you feel like we're firing those guys and they're going to be the worst quarterbacks in the SEC, but like, does his comments on, oh, this was a step back for them, kind of contextualize what you saw?
Well, okay, so that was a little interesting to me. It was a little noteworthy because it's okay, are we defending these guys? Are we Did he see like, oh man, these guys saw some bad? Because he was working directly with the quarterbacks during the practice viewing. So you saw him like coaching up, healing while they were running from one side of the field to the other. You saw him working with everybody. So is he like sitting there seeing all those cameras on his guys and saying like, oh, I need to say something? Or is he just, did these guys take a little step back? I don't know. I don't know how much to look into it.
Yeah, I don't know either. It makes me think that the first couple days were pretty good, but maybe I'm just maybe I'm just kind of likely to eat up the propaganda. I try to look through it. And Ryan Grubb never strikes me as a guy who gives a bunch of hooey. I think Ryan Grubb's a pretty straightforward guy, pretty straightforward coach with his press conferences. He has been, at least in my experience, last year. So I'll take him at his word that they had a good first 2 days, and I'll say that his words of regression backed you up in your assessment of the practices that they weren't that sharp.
Well, he's a very straightforward guy, and it caught me so off guard, some of his straightforwardness, which I'm sure we're about to get into, but
he is
the guy where when he says something, you kind of take it at pretty close to face value. Usually, I agree.
Yeah, and you just kind of teased it, which is perfect. The actual news from Ryan Grubb's press conference was that Alabama only really has 2 open spots on the offensive line. We thought there were 4. We really thought there were 3. We kind of knew Racing Delgatti was going to take the center role. We thought there were 4 open spots entering spring practice, but after 3 days of spring practice, Jackson Lloyd is named the left tackle. How close to the competition? It's not. It's not close. Jackson is our left tackle. He's the left tackle is what he said. Pretty wild, in my opinion. Now, I've been high on Jackson Lloyd really since he was a recruit out in California. I have been really high on him throughout his entire time at Alabama. You've heard that on this show before. So I was expecting him to be really, really in contention for this job. I just thought the experience factor that Javen James brought was going to challenge and was going to kind of make this, at least starting off, an even battle. I thought Nick Brooks was kind of an outside man looking in, and really Ty Haywood was kind of a fourth player in this competition. So I thought there were 4 guys vying for left tackle, but apparently it is not close. And the work that Jackson has put in the offseason and really, I guess, last year has given Ryan Grubb and the coaching staff confidence to say on the 3rd day of spring practice, no, he's the left tackle. Wow. I just think there's so many layers to that conversation or that comment. The layers of just Jackson alone as the left tackle. Okay, how do you rate that? What do you like about that? Then it's the next 3 guys. Well, does that mean that Ty Haywood's going to be playing guard because those are one of the open spots and he's going to develop right there? He was talked about yesterday as a tweener type. Well, where does that leave Javen James and where does that leave Nick Brooks? Did Javen James transfer over here just to be a backup body? Is Javen James the tackle version of Geno Vandermark, backing up both Michael Carroll and Jackson Lloyd? There's just so many different offshoots that statement kind of opens up. So Theo, what direction should we even go in with it? I was really surprised that he just came right out and said, Jackson Lloyd, he's our left tackle.
I was too. I thought that Lloyd would end up being the guy. We just talked earlier in the week about, well, you've got a baseline level at Javen James. Now the question becomes, are any of these guys going to play up above it? Are any of these guys in the show? Yeah, I can be a better product right now than Javen James, a slightly below SEC tackle was, right? It appears that Jackson Lloyd has just blown that away. Like that is the way it has sounded. And I spoke with Jackson at the Rose Bowl last year and just talked through a lot about, I spent like 8 minutes with him talking about, well, how's it been coming in? What have you learned from Caden Proctor? All that stuff. And so much of what he said, I was rewatching the interview last night. So much of what he said really kind of played into, coming in, replacing Proctor and being the lineage of Alabama left tackles, right? He was built for this all of last year. He's been made ready to be the starting left tackle. It's why he chose Alabama. That's why Alabama chose him. They love his archetype of player. And I know he's recruited a little before, obviously this administration got in, but he is a player that Alabama rightfully is extremely high on. So while I'm slightly surprised by the announcement coming this early, I'm not surprised at all by the move to make Jackson Lloyd the starter.
No, I'm not. I'm not surprised that he won the job because I have been singing his praises really since he was brought in. You remember Jackson Lloyd was the very first player that Kalen DeBoer and his staff offered a fresh scholarship when they came to Alabama. He was already on their radar when he was Washington coach. He was being recruited, and when he came to Alabama, he was the first player that he said, "Yeah, we'll give you a scholarship to our new job at Alabama." So they've been high on him for a long, long time. I am concerned about the strength factor, just being a younger player. But you've had a year and a half now in the Alabama coaching, the strength and conditioning room. So that shouldn't be an issue. And really, it's just about experience. Are you getting the right calls? Are you executing the calls? I think he is a superb athlete. I think he is just an otherworldly athlete for his size. And so I expect for him to be able to get out in the running game, get to the second level. I expect for him not to be beaten by speed rushers around the edge. I expect him to be a pretty good tackle. I mean, as a first-year starter, is my expectation A+? No. I think my expectation is probably about an 83, 88, mid B level tackle is kind of what I expect out of him.
Yeah, I've been, he's going to inevitably be compared to Caden Proctor a ton. And you see just that face value, right? The comparison of you got two massive bodies, right? And Jackson Lloyd, he measures in at 317 right now. I don't know that strength will be the issue. More so, how do you use all the stuff that you have? And I think there will be some of those moments, likely this fall, where it's like, oh, here's this massive, strong, athletic human being who just doesn't quite know how to combine all of them against elite pass rushers, and who doesn't, he'll have some times where he gets beat, right? And where it's going to be a rough adjustment, but like the ceiling on Jackson Lloyd as a guy who's coming in and, would be starting has 2 years, right, of college football to learn. And it's just unreal, man. It is. He has the potential to be a big time player. What is the advantage of announcing it early, though? I guess is my question.
That's the one area that's the one aspect of this that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because he can take the first team reps the entire spring, right? And you can mix in Javen James here or there, or you can mix in Ty Haywood, or mix in, whichever tackle that you think is backing him up. I just don't know I don't know what the advantage is of naming it now, because look, Ty's probably very motivated. Jackson's probably very motivated. I'm sure that this announcement doesn't make him think that, well, I got it in the bag, I'm a perfect player, I'm done developing. I'm sure his development is going to continue. But I think with all the questions along the offensive line, I think you want to keep the fire. Yeah, I think you want to keep their backs against the wall a little bit and keep them under pressure through this spring. Obviously, we know that Michael Carroll was going to play right tackle, and all the coaches have already praised Rayson Delgado, and he's basically your most experienced center. I thought the other newsworthy piece from Ryan Grubb was that Caden Strayhorn was not so much a guard and much more a center. So maybe Strayhorn slides in as your backup center. I don't know what the advantage. I don't see an advantage in naming Jackson the starter now, unless you think he just needs confidence to be a great player.
And that's exactly what I was going to go into. I think what does that do for him? He's coming in the spring knowing I am the starter. I'm the guy. And I'm sure this isn't the first time he's heard that, right? I mean, that would be pretty crazy if everyone just got out of practice and Jackson looks at his phone and he's like, oh, wow, I'm the starter. No, he obviously came in knowing he was. And knowing how early this announcement came out, I'd have to imagine Javen James came in knowing you are coming to a place where you are not the starter, right? Like, you have to imagine that an expectation was set. So I think it's a confidence thing for Jackson. I think it's a continuity thing for the unit. And I also think it is a bit of, there's been so much negative talk about the offensive line. Let's give them something. Let's go out and say, we've got our starter, guys. We have our guy. This unit is going to be like, I expect more starters to be named by the end of spring, honestly, right? Like, I think we'll get at least one more where they're really going to make a concerted effort to at least give the outward expression of confidence in the guys that they have.
Ryan Grubb was listening to Let's Give Them Something to Talk About before he came on there. Let's give them something to talk about. I was a good time with Ryan Grubb.
Yes, it was.
I walked away feeling like we knew more about the offensive line than we did when we walked in there, and that was really the main goal. I don't think that we really learned anything about the quarterbacks. I don't think that we really learned anything about tight ends, about running backs, about receivers. Obviously, he was asked about Ryan Williams working into an experienced role, being an experienced player. How does he become better? Yada, yada, this, that, and the other. He said complimentary things about all the running backs. He mentioned Daniel Hill's weight loss and said that he was more explosive. But really, I thought the most newsworthy stuff from Ryan Grubb was about the offensive line. Did anything else stand out from him to you?
No, that was really it. But it's a pretty significant thing to have stand. It's much more substantial than I thought we'd get yesterday.
Yeah, hugely significant. Absolutely. You spent time with Ryan Coleman Williams yesterday. I walked over to the Michael Carroll scrum, so I listened to Michael Carroll. I just listened to your Ryan Williams scrum this morning before we got going. Did you take anything away from it? It was a pretty fluffy time. Not to criticize you or any of the people that were there, but it was a pretty fluffy time. Yes. Tell us about your name change, which I thought was cool, and I thought the number change was more significant. And then it was, how does it like being the upperclassman, and what are you trying to work on, and pretty base level stuff. What were your kind of big takeaways from Ryan Coleman Williams?
I just think it's interesting when you look at, I've been speaking to Ryan Williams in scrums for a year and a half now, right? And it's just so crazy that this is the 17-year-old who is taking everything by storm and is all over all the social media. And we're so close to that still, right? Like, this guy's just turned 19 years old. But at the same time, you listen to him speak, and it's like, well, yeah, the maturity is there. The fact of the matter is, he is a leader. He is one of the primary leaders on this football team, both internally and externally. And that is like, it's so interesting to watch the dynamic. And we're going to have to speak to him more to truly see it and see how it unfolds during the season. But, like, how quickly things have changed. And yes, I mean, he wants to go out and just be the, have the fun moments and have the big time plays and all of that, and get himself to be a first round NFL draft pick and have all the stuff there. But it's also like, yeah, this guy, he loves Alabama. He always has, right? He's always been such a big guy. And he was reflecting on his high school career and the guys he came here with from high school and loyalty. And it makes for a really good story. And I think that from a storytelling perspective, just you think about Ryan and the career arc he's went on, be pretty big to see him have a special season this year. I think it would mean a lot to a lot of people in this state and that follow this team.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I think that it would be great for him, and just for the story's sake, for him to have a storybook junior year or a couple of really nice moments. Take you back to last week's conversation when they announced number changes, and I said, well, maybe it's about swagger. Maybe it's about I feel good when I'm in this number. Hey, man, Ryan Williams backed me up yesterday, saying part of switching back to one is getting back to my old self, feeling that high school swag that I had at Saraland.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need a change right after that season. So many of the questions were about just overcoming last season, and obviously, once people from the first scrum came over to join us at Ryan Williams, we got all the same questions all over again. But it feels like a fresh start for Ryan Williams. It really does. You know, the number change is symbolic of that. But, like, at the end of the day, no matter how last year went, you still have a new year with a new quarterback and all this new role. Like, it is a fresh start, as close to one as you're going to get while staying with the same team.
Absolutely. So we had a lot of fun in the Malmore Athletic Facility yesterday. There will be news out of the facility today. We are not there at Bama Central because everybody is trying to get to Nashville, but we will have written content in a couple hours about what Kane Womack had to say. There's going to be several defensive players that are made available, and I will do my best to write a couple of things for Bama Central to make sure that we have coverage from football today while everybody else is traveling up to meet me here in Nashville. With that, Theo, you're on short time because you got to drive here in just a minute. So let's go ahead and tell everybody about Purple Turtle Roofing. At Purple Turtle Roofing, we're not just another contractor. We're your neighbor and your advocate when it comes to protecting your home or business. With years of hands-on experience, top-tier certification, and a commitment to excellence, we've built a reputation as Alabama's go-to roofing solution. We specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, emergency storm repairs, full-on roof replacement, insurance claim support, and more. Visit them online today at roofturtle.com. You can check out all their products and services, see what they can do for you. If you've got a metal roof or a shingle roof, it doesn't really matter. They'll come out and give you a free roof inspection. Make sure that your roof is good to go. Make sure you got no trouble spots so that you're prepared for the spring storm season that's already basically here. So you want to call them today at 877-787-6635, or if you're not ready to call them, just visit them online and check them out at roofturtle.com. All right, Theo Fernandez. Follow him at Theo Fernandez, __ on the Twitter machine. Theo, let's blitz the other three games for the SEC tournament today, and then we'll talk about Alabama and Ole Miss that starts at 6 o'clock right here in Bridgestone Arena. But it starts today right here at noon. At noon, Kentucky is taking on Florida. Kentucky, 2 nice wins in a row, beating Missouri, taking care of business against LSU, but it comes to an end today, right? Florida is going to wreck them.
I don't know about wreck, man. It's like it's Kentucky in March, and you can talk about all the struggles the team has, but you're a talented roster that it feels sacrilegious to pick Kentucky to get blown out. So I won't. I'll go Florida by about 10 points in this one.
There we go. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Next up, Tennessee and Vanderbilt. A little rivalry game in the SEC tournament at 2:30. ESPN. It'll all be on ESPN today. Well, the first games will be on ESPN. Will be on SEC Network. I don't know about this one. I guess in my gut, I'm gonna take Tennessee in my gut. It's a 1.5 point favorite. Vandy's a 1.5 point favorite.
Here's your first blowout of the day. Vanderbilt's been one of the most consistently overrated teams in the nation. Tyler Tanner, great basketball player. This Tennessee team is much better than its seeding, right? I mean, frankly, this Tennessee team, I believe, is a really, really good basketball club, and I think they win this game by more than 20.
There we go. Skipping ahead, after you are celebrating or crying Alabama's result tonight, you can experience the afterglow with Oklahoma and Arkansas at 8:30 on SEC Network. Arkansas is a 6.5 point favorite. Oklahoma, they've just been grinding their way through this tournament. 2 wins in a row. Can they make it 3, Theo? I say no.
You say no. Look, this Oklahoma team and this Ole Miss team that we're about to talk about, there are a lot of parallels, right? They're both coached by guys who have had a ton of success, right? Have gone on deep runs, have both been regarded as some of the best coaches in the country. And you come in and you have underwhelming seasons, but you also, like, both these guys got the chance to build their roster, right? Oklahoma a little more so than Ole Miss. Oklahoma's a slightly more talented group. But Ole Miss, just like Oklahoma's roster, tailored to, like, Ole Miss has Chris Beard's guys that he wants, that he believes he can win with. So when you tie that all together and you put it into this conference tournament atmosphere, it just creates oh, wow, like, this team's rattling off some wins, and you see the coaching really shine, and you see the players have the opportunity to do the things they wanted to do all season. So I look at these two teams and I see some similarities. Oklahoma, I believe, is the better of the two. Oklahoma, I believe, takes Arkansas down to the wire. The Sooners have so much to play for. The bubble has been so bad. All of a sudden, Oklahoma is in the first four out. And if you win this game, you are dancing. I don't quite think they win it. I think Arkansas – what was the line, Joe?
6.5, Arkansas.
I think Oklahoma covers that. I think this is an extremely fun game. Perfect nightcap today.
There we go. Perfect nightcap to Alabama and Ole Miss. The Rebels, the running Rebs. They've been getting it done here lately. They took down Texas on night one. They took down Georgia last night. And now Alabama gets a rematch with Ole Miss. Let me take you back. 93-74 in the regular season. Alabama at Ole Miss with a victory in your first game without Charles Bediako. You ended up with 18 LeBaron Philon points, 15 Aiden Sherrill points. You ended up out really shooting the lights out from three-point line, 17 of 45 over in Oxford. About 4-ish weeks ago, about a month ago, roughly, you out-rebounded Ole Miss 44-39. And so is Alabama the first team in SEC tournament history to get a three-round bye into the semifinals?
Yeah, it's pretty close to that, Joe. There's no reason for this game to go any different than the first one did. I think 93-74 sounds about what my score prediction would be. Like, I look at this Rebels team, and I just singing the praises of Chris Beard. How good he is. At a certain point, it has to stop, right? And I think Ole Miss's run, if anything, just speaks to how awful the SEC is this year.
The bottom end.
Yeah. No, like it just speaks to here's Georgia, a team that was able to ride off the coattails of the conference pedigree into being a top, they'll probably end up a 7 or 8 seed. And look what happens when they play a really bad basketball team. And even Texas. It's funny because Texas's entire NCAA tournament case kind of relies on a road win in Tuscaloosa at this point. They are not a tournament team, but neither are most of the teams that are on the bubble. So maybe Texas gets in. I don't know. I'd put Oklahoma in over all of them. But, you see these teams on the bubble that have just played horrible basketball games against an even worse team in Ole Miss. And obviously, Alabama lost to both of those teams. Or Alabama loses to Georgia, loses to Texas. Now Ole Miss is the one getting a revenge game here. And I don't think Ole Miss is a good basketball team, plain and simple. I don't think Alabama should have any trouble, plain and simple.
You're right.
But it's March.
We see
teams go on runs. And this team, this Ole Miss team, I'm not writing it off, but I just would be pretty shocked.
I'm sorry, Theo. I didn't mean to jump in there and cut you off right there. Exactly like you said. I don't see Ole Miss being a good basketball team. Their guard play is not near good enough to keep up with Alabama. Their post play is not. I mean, I like Malik Dia. I like Malik Dia, and they've got the kid from Ole Miss that transferred over there, Corey Chest as well. I like those guys in the post, but I don't think that they're going to be enough to really overcome. Like, Alabama's going to have to shoot pretty bad, really bad, to end up losing this game. So I'm going to take Alabama in a pretty comfortable win tonight in Bridgestone Arena, and that'll let all the Alabama fans get out on Broadway and celebrate.
I guess the question for me is, what does it take for Alabama to lose? Because there is a recipe for the loss.
I mean,
it starts with just guys having off shooting nights.
You look at the box score in the last game.
Yeah, you go do that. Why?
Ole Miss shot 42% in the last game. Alabama only shot 39% from the floor as a team. So Ole Miss technically outshot you, but you were 17 to 45 from the 3-point line. So 17 dadgum threes to Ole Miss's 8 for 22. And then you got to the free throw line 24 out of 26 from the free throw line over there in Oxford. So you beat them behind the 3-point line, and you beat them at the free throw line, and you out-rebounded them Three factors right there that basically allowed you to blow them out. And then your turnovers, only 6 turnovers to 8 turnovers for Ole Miss. That's not a huge amount that you turned them over, but you protected the basketball extremely well. If you're at 6 or fewer turnovers, I'm singing your praises for protecting the basketball. 20 assists for Alabama on 26 made baskets, moving the ball very, very well. What's it going to take, you ask, for Alabama to lose? Not moving the basketball well, not moving on offense, not keeping things flowing on offense, turning the ball over. If you go instead of 6 turnovers to 12 or 15 and you let Ole Miss get a bunch of easy buckets and easy runouts, then you're going to be sweating a little bit. If you get to the free throw line, you got to the free throw line 26 times. This was a game that I believe Aiden Sherrill stayed out of foul trouble. If Aiden Sherrill gets into foul trouble and you're playing dadgum Noah Williamson against Malik Dia and Corey Chest, I don't like that option. I don't like that option as well. Aiden Sherrill, 15 points, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and let's see, 1 personal foul. So, if Aiden doesn't avoid foul trouble, that could be a recipe for Alabama to lose. I don't want to say it's as simple as shoot well, you win from 3-point line.
It basically is.
But if you do, exactly, you take care of the basketball, stay out of foul trouble, and rebound at about even rate, you should be able to win this game.
And remember, when you're coming off playing a game the day before, that's momentum. When you're coming off playing 2 games 2 days before, that's fatigue, right? Like Ole Miss is getting to the point where, we're a little gassed. We've played a lot of basketball, and against a team like Alabama, that absolutely shows.
Absolutely.
So
I
look at this game, and I would be borderline astounded to see Alabama lose it. Not that, I'm obviously not the biggest Alabama basketball supporter in the world, but I've seen this team do the things time and time again that do not lead to a team losing to Ole Miss. There's a baseline that Alabama plays pretty far above.
Yeah, so it'll be tonight at 6 o'clock. You can follow all the coverage from all 4 of us. Hunter DeCiver, Katie Wyndham, Theo Fernandez, and myself, Joe Gaither, will all be on the coverage for BamaCentral.com. Theo, got just 2 minutes left because you're about to get in the car and start traveling up to Nashville. Give us a 2-minute report on Alabama baseball taking on the Kentucky Wildcats as they open SEC play.
This Kentucky team is good. I mean, they're legit. They entered fringe top 25. They're right around there. They're ranked number 22 in the D1 baseball poll. Haven't really been battle tested. Haven't really played anyone, but just doing all the things that a great baseball club should do. Lost 1 Sunday and 1 midweek, both against mid-majors. So it's nothing really to look into. Like, that's baseball. They're talented. They are talented. Their Friday night guy, Jackson Jelkin, is just... he's lights out, man. He is going to give Tyler Fay a run for everything he has. And Fay likely, I believe, will come out on the losing end of that one. It's just, I look at this team that hasn't actually experienced a road SEC atmosphere yet. And furthermore, like, Kentucky is as talented as a lineup as Oregon State was. And Alabama's also going into some pretty unfavorable weather up there. Like, it's going to be in the real low 50s in Lexington this weekend, and creates some potential problems for this team that's already been uncomfortable all year, that's already faced adversity all year. You're going to continue to be out of your comfort zone this weekend. I think Kentucky takes the series. I think they win Friday. Alabama responds. Dane Adams goes out, gets the job done on Saturday, and then Miles Upchurch, just freshman first SEC start, kind of gets thrown into a tough spot and, has one of those losses where it's like, well, you lost, but hey, this is experience for the season. So I think Alabama goes up, competes, fights, and falls just short in Lexington, where the Alabama's not won a series there since 2004.
All right, huge Alabama baseball series this weekend as they're taking on the Kentucky Wildcats. Big thanks to Theo Fernandez for joining us today in a very busy day and morning. He's going to be coming up here to Alabama basketball game in Nashville, so they're about to hit the road. So we're cutting it a little shorter today, and that's A-okay. We'll if Alabama wins, here's the plan. If Alabama beats Ole Miss, which they should, Theo and I will do another 25, 30 minutes tomorrow morning breaking down the game and setting up the Arkansas or Oklahoma game that is ahead that afternoon. So it's going to be a busy weekend. We'll do that the next 2 days if Alabama continues to win. And we're going to have a great weekend right here on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. We'll talk to you very soon. It's the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.